Retiring with a pension seems straightforward. You've earned your years, now it's time to relax, right? But most Americans don't realize that a fixed $48,000 pension could lose nearly half its value to inflation, or that up to 85% of your Social Security might be taxed once your pension payments start. These must-know facts will decide whether your pension lasts for decades or leaves you short when it matters most. So, what crucial details are missing from your retirement planning? Stay with us, because by the end you'll know exactly what steps to take to protect your retirement income and reduce taxes. Every pension statement starts with a formula, but the real story is in the details. The typical calculation, years of service times a benefit percentage times your final average salary, looks simple. Take a 30-year career, a 2% multiplier, and a final average salary of $80,000. That comes out to $48,000 a year for life. But that number is not as fixed as it sounds. The first variable is how your plan defines final average salary. Some plans use your last 3 years of pay, others use the highest 5 years, and some exclude overtime and bonuses. Even a small difference in the calculation can change your annual benefit by thousands of dollars. That is why it is essential to get a written estimate from your Human Resources Department or your plan administrator, using your actual work history and pay records. Now here is where most people get caught off guard: inflation. Most defined benefit pensions do not automatically increase with inflation. If your plan has a cost of living adjustment, it is usually capped at 1% or 2% per year, rarely enough to keep up with rising prices. If inflation averages 3% a year, a $48,000 pension loses nearly half its purchasing power over 20 years. That means what feels comfortable at age 65 could feel tight by age 80. Some plans offer performance-based or ad hoc adjustments, but these depend on the plan funding and political decisions, not on actual inflation. The Detroit bankruptcy in 2013 is a warning. Retirees there saw their cost of living adjustment suspended for years, and their real income dropped sharply. Even large, well-known plans can run into funding trouble, and when they do, inflation protection is often the first thing cut. When you look at your pension, do not just focus on the headline number. Ask how your benefit is calculated, what kind of inflation protection, if any, you have, and how your plan handled high inflation in the past. Use a retirement calculator to project what your pension will be worth, not just the day you retire, but 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years later. That is the only way to see the real value of your pension and plan for the future. In short, understanding the formula, the definition of final average salary, and the real-world effects of inflation is critical to protecting your retirement income. Get written estimates, run long-term projections, and consult your plan administrator so you do not discover unpleasant surprises years down the road. The idea that retirement automatically means a lower tax bill is one of the most persistent myths in personal finance. For people with pensions, it is rarely true. Pension income is taxed as ordinary income, just like a paycheck. That means every dollar from your pension stacks on top of any other income you have: Social Security, withdrawals from retirement accounts, even part-time work. And that is where the trouble starts. Social Security benefits are only partially tax-free, and the rules for when they become taxable are surprisingly strict. The IRS uses something called provisional income, your adjusted gross income plus tax-exempt interest, plus half your Social Security benefits. If that total is over $34,000 for single filers, or $44,000 for couples, up to 85% of your Social Security can be taxed. With a pension of $48,000, you hit those thresholds almost immediately, even before you consider any IRA withdrawals or investment income. The new $6,000 senior deduction for those over 65 helps a little, but it does not lower your provisional income. It only comes into play after your taxable income is already calculated. So Social Security remains exposed to taxation for most pension holders. The impact goes beyond just federal taxes. Higher income can also increase your Medicare premiums through IRMAA surcharges, which kick in when your income crosses certain thresholds. For 2025, that is $106,000 for singles and $212,000 for couples. Even if you do not cross those lines immediately, a small raise in income from a Roth conversion or a required minimum distribution could tip the scale. In my 25 years working with retirees, I have seen countless clients surprised to find themselves in the same or even higher tax brackets after leaving work. The combination of pension, Social Security, and required account withdrawals can easily push you into the 22% or 24% federal bracket, especially if you are married and then lose a spouse. At that point, the surviving spouse faces the so-called widow's penalty, higher tax rates on the same income plus reduced deductions. The bottom line, do not count on your taxes dropping just because you stopped working. If you have a pension, you need to model your retirement income and tax picture carefully, ideally before you start claiming Social Security or taking withdrawals. The tax rules are stacked against passive planning. Only by understanding these mechanics now can you avoid costly surprises later. Plan now, get professional advice, and run the numbers so you can protect your retirement. Required minimum distributions catch many retirees by surprise. At age 73, the IRS forces withdrawals from pre-tax retirement accounts even if you do not need the money. The calculation is simple. Take your account balance and divide by the IRS table factor for your age. For example, a retiree with $500,000 in a traditional IRA must withdraw $18,868 at age 73, based on the 26.5 divisor. Every dollar is fully taxable, and it stacks on top of your pension and Social Security, often pushing you into higher tax brackets and triggering Medicare IRMAA surcharges or even the net investment income tax, if your income gets high enough. This is where Roth conversions can make a real difference. By converting portions of a pre-tax account to a Roth IRA, before required minimum distributions begin, you pay tax now, but eliminate future required minimum distributions on those funds. A retired teacher with a $60,000 pension and a $500,000 IRA converted $50,000 a year for 5 years, spreading the tax hit and reducing her future required minimum distributions to nearly zero. Now her Roth grows tax-free, and withdrawals will not increase her taxable income or Medicare premiums. But large conversions can backfire if they push you into higher tax brackets or trigger IRMAA. The key is careful multi-year planning. Sometimes smaller annual conversions are better than a single big one. Always coordinate with a tax advisor before making these moves. In summary, pensions and retirement accounts interact in ways that can surprise you years after you stop working. Model your future income, consider staged Roth conversions when they make sense, and get professional tax and financial advice so you avoid required minimum distribution shocks and protect your retirement income. This is long-term planning, not a one-time decision. Plan ahead and talk to your advisors. Choosing your pension payout option is a one-time decision with lifelong consequences. For married couples, the most common trade-off is between the higher monthly income of the single life option and the security of a joint and survivor benefit. Picking the joint and survivor option typically reduces your monthly pension by 25 to 30%, but it guarantees your spouse will continue to receive payments if you pass away first. Many couples accept this reduction without running the numbers, but the cost can be enormous over time. In one real case, a couple who chose the joint option left over $200,000 on the table compared to what they could have received by combining the single life payout with a simple term life insurance policy. For healthy couples, this alternative often provides more income and greater flexibility. But it does introduce risk if both spouses do not live long enough to benefit. The consequences of the wrong choice become painfully clear with the widow's penalty. When one spouse dies, the survivor loses the lower Social Security benefit and faces higher taxes because of the single filer tax bracket. This tax jump can mean an extra $5,500 or more per year in lost income, even as living expenses stay nearly the same. The survivor may also see Medicare premiums rise due to lower IRMAA thresholds. The best way to protect your spouse is to weigh each option carefully. Consider your health, age differences, and other assets, and model the after-tax income for both scenarios. Once you make this election, it is almost always permanent, so treat it as the foundation of your retirement income plan. Treating your pension as a bond is the key to unlocking smarter investment decisions in retirement. Imagine an annual pension of $40,000. At today's 4.29% 10-year Treasury yield, you would need about $933,000 in bonds to create that same income. That is a huge fixed income base, one most retirees could never build on their own. When you add this to your Social Security, your guaranteed income floor could easily top $1 million in bond equivalents. That changes the entire risk profile of your portfolio. With such a strong foundation, your need for additional bonds or cash in your investments drops sharply. Instead of the classic 60% to 40% allocation, many pension holders can confidently keep 60 to 70% of their portfolio in stocks and growth investments. This is not about chasing returns recklessly. It is about recognizing that your pension already covers the steady, predictable part of your retirement plan. The rest of your portfolio can be positioned for long-term growth, giving you more flexibility, higher potential returns, and a better shot at keeping up with inflation over decades of retirement. In conclusion, treating your pension as a bond reframes your asset allocation. It lets you reduce redundant fixed income, tilt toward growth where appropriate, and improve your chances of preserving purchasing power in retirement. Talk with your financial advisor to integrate your pension into your overall investment strategy and make choices that match your goals. Right now, over 24% of Americans rely on a pension. Every year, tax laws shift and inflation bites deeper. The decisions you make today will shape your financial freedom for decades. In retirement, knowledge isn't just power, it is protection. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Take time now to learn your pension details and plan ahead so your retirement income is secure.